Hey there, I'm hanging out at the University of San Francisco campus in San Francisco, California. I love the city for the innovation, technology, access to the outdoors, and of course, the laid-back West Coast lifestyle. My name is Barbara, and I'm the founder of PassportEDU.com. Have you considered studying abroad in the United States, but you're not sure where to start? Well, good news. We have great information available specifically for international students. You have applications that you can fill out on our sites, and with just one application, you can get into a number of universities, colleges, as well as intensive English programs. Today, we'll talk about how the U.S. education system works, how you can get admitted, and how do you know the requirements for each school, what to consider when you're looking at schools, and how to get your U.S. student visa. So first, how does the U.S. education system work? There are four-year universities and colleges, there are two-year community colleges, and intensive English programs. So, what is a four-year university or college? This is a type of accredited institution that awards bachelor's, master's, and doctorate or PhD programs. For example, well-known schools include Stanford University, University of California, Berkeley, and of course, the University of San Francisco, where I am today. The main difference for practical purposes is that they tend to have a larger student body, hundreds of academic programs, access to research facilities. The most competitive four-year universities or colleges have really high admission requirements like GPA, some may require SAT tests, TOEFL scores, unique personal statements, impressive recommendations. Now, community colleges are two-year accredited institutions that grant what are called associate degrees. So some also grant bachelor's degrees and specialized certificates. Community colleges are typically smaller, less expensive, and can provide a more supportive learning environment. As an international student especially, community colleges are excellent as a pathway to a university bachelor program. This is what's called a 2+2 pathway. To get into a community college, it's good to have a TOEFL score of about 45 or higher, have completed your high school diploma. Typically, you don't require references, you do require proof of finances, and in some cases, a health form that you get signed by your doctor that you have had vaccinations for measles, mumps, rubella, and that you do not have TB. Lastly, we have intensive English programs. Many universities have their own intensive English programs right on campus. They're tailored to be the place where you as an international student can spend a semester or two strengthening your academic English skills. The great thing is that since many of the English centers are right on the university campus, you will already get comfortable in your new setting. So you have four-year universities, two-year community colleges, and the intensive English programs. Where should you apply? There are 6 questions that I would ask you to think about. 1, what is the highest degree level that you're completed? 2, what is your GPA or the marks that you received in your classes? 3, how strong is your command of written and verbal English? 4, what are the programs that you want to study? 5, where in the US do you want to live? And finally, how much do you want to spend on your education each year? There are nearly 5,000 education institutions in the United States, so trust me when I say that you have a lot of choice. So if you're completing your high school degree, you have the option of going to an intensive English program, community college, or directly to the university. If you need some extra help on English, say you have less than a 45 on the TOEFL and your marks are less than a 3.0 of 4.0 GPA, you can first look at going to an intensive English program. At the intensive English program, you can go then to a community college for 2 years and then transfer to a university for the final 2 years. Now, if your TOEFL is between about 45 and 70 and your marks are slightly less than a 3.0 GPA, you have a great chance of enrolling at a community college and then entering the university in the 2+2 pathway. Lastly, if your TOEFL is about 70 or higher and your marks are a 3.0 GPA or higher, you are very likely to succeed when you apply directly to a university. Now, program selection varies widely. Most community colleges provide all the introductory level courses across the liberal arts, business, accounting, math, engineering, and sciences. But to specialize, you'll want to complete your degree at a university that is well known or has faculty that research and teach on the topics that you care about. Okay, living. The US is a big place with different culture, activities, and climate. The Northeast US near New York City has hot summers and cold and snowy winters. The pace of life is fast and everyone is typically in a hurry. Contrast that to studying in the Southeast US near Florida. You have summer almost all year round. Middle of the country, in Montana, for example, you have cold winters, hot summers, and access to great mountains and rivers. Then there's the West Coast US. In the South, near Los Angeles, you have hot, dry weather all year round. It's a sprawling city, so you may need to have a car to get around. To the north, in San Francisco, you have a much different West Coast experience. It's milder temperatures. If you go further north to Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, you're in for the full 4 seasons with lots of rain and warm summers. So finally, you'll have to consider how much you want to spend. While some schools provide scholarships to international students, the majority of them don't, so you can't count on scholarships. So this means you'll need to fund your own education or with help from family or other sponsors. When you complete your application to the United States school, you will be required to show proof of finances. Each school has an estimate of how much money you will need to study and live for 1 year. It can range from about $16,000 at the community college level all the way up to about $65,000 if you're studying at the university. So this amount will include tuition, books, room and board, health insurance, and other expenses. So here's an example where the college provides you a breakdown with the amount of finances that are required, and then you have to show how you're going to make up that funds and get the person to sign it. Then you have to supplement this document with your actual bank account that will show you the balance at a minimum that the school requires. And make sure it's dated no more than 6 months ago. The entire process can seem a little daunting, but here are 7 steps that make it a little bit easier to visualize. So number 1, you got to identify where you want to study. 2, complete an application. If you do it through PassportEDU, our schools will typically let you know within 5 business days if you're admitted. 3rd, you'd receive the admission decision. Then you'll get what's called an I-20 form that allows you then to start planning for your visa interview. Before you go to the visa interview, you need to pay the U.S. government CVIS fee, which is usually about $200. So when you schedule your interview, you'll need to bring all of your admissions forms with you and show ties back to your home country so they know that after you complete your studies, you'll be returning to your home country. Typically, student visas are granted within a couple days to a few weeks. It's called the F1 student visa in the United States. And once you get that, you can enroll at your school, book your tickets, arrive on campus, start your classes. If you're planning on studying in the United States soon, start doing your research and start applying. Do check out PassportEDU.com for information that's really specific to international admissions. So if you go to PassportEDU.com, the schools in our network are not all of the 5,000, but we have a few dozen that you can find information on and apply directly with a single application that you can actually complete from your mobile phone. And once you complete one application, you can reuse it for other schools in our network. It's totally free for you to use, and we promise you that you will spend a lot less time on one application with us than many on the individual school sites. So here's an example. I go to PassportEDU.com. I can start searching schools. So the one we looked at before was Butte College. I'll click on Butte. Double check what are the admission requirements, application deadlines, top programs, the cost of attending per year, any IELTS or TOEFL requirements, and where I can transfer to. I can easily click Apply to start my application. And it'll prompt me to save my information. So once I start entering any information in here, it's going to save automatically, and I can come back and complete it at another time or apply to other schools as well with all that information. All right, so if you're thinking about applying to a U.S. college, university, or intensive English program, start now. Do your research and check out PassportEDU.com so you can save time in completing your applications. Just so you know, it's actually free to use PassportEDU. The only thing you'll pay is your application fees to the various schools. Thanks so much for watching. Let us know if we can help in any way, and share with a friend.